I'm walking through the Confederate Cemetery just across the street from the UTC campus where I attend school. The grass is being mowed today. It's interesting to note that in the Confederate Cemetery, it's being maintained exclusively by African American men. It brings to mind the images of black grave diggers wandering among the fields of battle, burying whoever it is that needed burying. Many of the graves here were for Confederate veterans, not necessarily direct casualties. Many of the men buried here were brought from other areas, died in hospitals here in Chattanooga. Men die for ideas. Flags represent ideas. So men die for flags. Nearby here, not far, a few blocks, stone's throw, a short walk, Ed Johnson was lynched from the Walnut Street Bridge. That took place in 1906. Looking at these headstones, about the same time that those that survived the war lived out their natural lives and were buried here. Obviously, the legacy of those buried here is alive and well enough to reach out its hands even from the grave and still Ed Johnson's protests of innocence and defy the Supreme Court's intervention. That is a powerful legacy. History is simply the present looking backwards. The dynamics, the loves, the hatreds, simply develop. Ancient history is not at all ancient. It's present with me today. How appropriate that a magnolia stands as if it had been planted here when this place was not history. It was work to be done tomorrow to commemorate history. I asked a white workman working on a construction site across the street from the cemetery what he thought of this place and working nearby. And he said, "It's part of my heritage." When I asked him if he knew who Ed Johnson was, he said, "No." One of the workmen doing the tending on the cemetery today, tending all these memories, a little reluctant to let me take a picture. But I asked him, "What do you think of the fact that you're mowing this place?" He said, "It's just a job." And I asked him one more thing. "Do you know who Ed Johnson was?" He said, "No."